According to the Pew Research Center, a record 27.3 million Latinos will be eligible to vote in the 2016 presidential elections. And in 2015, roughly 800,000 Latinos in the United States turned 18 and became eligible to vote. Now, in the Nevada caucus, Latino voters made up 19% of the electorate. Although Secretary of State Hillary Clinton did beat Vermont Governor Bernie Sanders, it was he who won the Latino vote. And nationwide polls also indicate that young Latinos and blacks are significantly more likely to have a more favorable view of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders than their own elders. To explain how a 74-year-old white guy is resonating with Latino voters, particularly young ones, we've invited 4 Feel the Burn supporters, all the way from Holyoke City Councilor Jossie Valentin, newly elected City Councilor in Springfield, Adam Gomez. We also have neighbor-to-neighbor organizer Jafet Robles and Northeastern University graduate student Andrea Ornelas. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming so early today.
Yes.
Thank you for
Good. So, are you feeling the burn?
That's right.
Raise your hand if you're feeling the burn.
We're definitely feeling the burn.
Okay, explain this to me. Not that I can't relate, because I can see it, but we've got 4 individuals, and I'm pretty sure you all have different reasons. So I'm going to start from left to right. What's making you feel the burn?
There's a lot of reasons, but particularly his message is really resonating with me, just in a sense. Since the 70s, a lot of jobs have gone overseas. Profits have been at an all-time high, yet wages have been stagnated. So a lot of our issues have really been because of the billionaires. And he's the really only candidate that's holding them accountable, not taking any funding from them, really just with the people. And I think that's what we need right now.
Okay, got that clear. How about you, Jossie? You're an elected official, so what's your take?
So for me, there's really 4 qualities that really stick out for me in terms of what represented, oh my God.
That's okay. Governor, right? Governor Sanders.
Senator. So for me, there's really 4 things that stick out in terms of what he represents. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. And for me, that is consistency, transparency, humanity, and really this authenticity that he portrays. And I think that people are really identifying with that, regardless of what age group they belong to, regardless of what their background is. And it's very refreshing to see someone who's running for this position, who's really being able to capture these groups of folks that are so different.
Okay, also elected official, what part of the campaign is really resonating with you?
He talks about things that really affected me as a young man growing up. And then running off this new campaign and with the young people and the energy that is right behind it, with so many young people, not only in Massachusetts, but in the Iowa caucus, we've seen it, and we've seen it in New Hampshire and in Nevada, that Latinos are really resonating with the message. And I think that's important that he's talking about the issues that are going on in our Latino communities.
Andrea, why do you think so many young people from all walks of life are relating to this really much older man?
I think a lot of his qualities, such as being humble, has really resonated with our community, especially the fact that he's all-inclusive and really thinking about us in regards to our college tuitions and making sure that we are able to have that affordable access to higher education. And he's all-inclusive also to the undocumented population, the youth of the dreamers, which is very important with his immigration reform.
Okay, so he's touting it as a political revolution. Some of his ideas have been categorized as a little bit radical. When you hear that, what do you relate to that, or is it that something you kind of embrace, this whole different approach?
I think it's just really needed. Like I said earlier, the billionaires have really took this country and put it in a situation that we're in now. And I think that's what we need, someone that's really going to come in and radical. That's what we need, is a political revolution to get that change that we need. We've seen what's happened with a lot of previous candidates, and we feel that to get change, we need someone who's going to really step in with some, and people call it radical, but a lot of it is just, people say it's free college, but it's not free college. It's just us allocating our taxes to things. It's us investing in our education, and education deters crime and poverty. So.
As an elected official, do you see yourself maybe kind of taking some of his campaign messaging later on in your own personal kind of political career?
I think whatever Bernie is talking about right now, we can always identify to local politics, and I think that's why his message is really sticking with a lot of folks. You know, the fact that we are having conversations in communities that were not taking place regarding the status quo, regarding what a lot of folks talk about regarding the establishment. These are conversations that are going to continue to happen regardless of what happens from here to November and even after that. And that's something that I always remind people is something that can never be taken away from the communities we're serving.
We're looking at some of the photos now, and I want to stay with you for a second, Jossie, because you know I see some of this campaign material in Spanish, and I know that earlier this week he was actually in your part of the state, and not only did you get to meet him, you introduced him, but it had a very Latino flavor. Did he give you the impression that he's aware of Latino issues and concerns of our community?
Absolutely. He's very aware of the issues that pertain to the Latino community, and also being from Puerto Rico, I can speak about how he has been very vocal regarding the fiscal crisis in Puerto Rico and what is the role of the United States in terms of assistance, in terms of where do we go from here. He's been very present regarding that, and I think that's something that our communities here in the United States are appreciating about him as well.
How about you, City Councilor Gomez? You know, when you see Bernie, well, let's take me back. When you first heard about Bernie Sanders, what was your impression, and has it changed? And the more you learned, was it one of those things where the more you learn, the more you like them?
The more you learn, the more you burn.
The more. I think my story is kind of different. I actually met Senator Bernie Sanders in Washington, D.C., actually protesting against the TPP. When I went down with People Politics, we just endorsed him actually on the same day that Councilor Valentin brought him out. We were over here in Boston with the People's Politics and the Irons Workers, number 7, and we got a chance to have an intimate time with him, and we support him in everything that he does. But he's that person that he's in a room, and the funny thing is that when we were protesting and marching with all these people, he was standing there actually right next to me, and I didn't even know who the gentleman was. And then when they said, well, we're going to bring to the mic Senator Bernie Sanders, and I was having this complete conversation with the gentleman, and then I looked, I said, oh my God, he's a senator. And he went up there and he was just speaking so much truth to power on how this TPP was taking jobs from our people, not necessarily Latinos, but our Americans, and taking them across seas. And that's something that he's talking about, bringing jobs back into the communities, not only the Latino communities, but all over America. And that's something that young people need to hear, that he's worried about what's going on with them, if there's jobs, schooling. Those are things that are plaguing our communities, that it's a necessity.
Well, you've got a young person next year. I'm going to go to you because we see a lot of young people getting involved. But are they going to come out and vote? Are you folks your age and younger actually going to come out and vote? They're doing all the campaigning and stuff, but that's been a question that's been asked.
Yeah, that's a very important question. Well, first of all, I just want to mention that I don't think Bernie's a radical. I believe he's just very passionate and he's very knowledgeable about what topics and subjects need to be addressed immediately. And the youth needs to be able to vote. I think they need to have the responsibility of making their part of participating in the candidacy, as well as learning about issues that are going to affect them in the future. Whereas right now, our corporate America does want to capitalize on foreigners and on foreign workers coming here, whereas those jobs could be distributed amongst young working professionals, which is much needed.
Real quickly, as we round up, family members, friends involved around your circle, really enthusiastic, from maybe some of the older folks in your family, some of the young folks, yes, no?
Absolutely, and it's, you know, to me, and it's the same also for Adam, you know, as city councilors in cities like Holyoke and Springfield that are so heavily populated with Latinos, it's important for us to really put the message out. And so both of us have been very vocal in terms of our support and our endorsement for Bernie, and we'll continue to do so.
Same thing with friends, family?
Yeah, I know in Springfield it's a primarily high population of Puerto Ricans, and I know Bernie's been very vocal about the current crisis over there, you know, really holding the hedge funders accountable and talking about a sustainability plan. So I know in our community there's been a lot of momentum, a lot of the youth and Western Mass, they're feeling a burn.
Chris, question, are you guys using social media to send the message out?
Social media is probably one of the best strengths that we have, because that's what the young people are
That's
using
what they're
right
using.
now. That's something that we need to continue using and make sure that we go ahead with it.
Yeah, I've seen some of the Bernie Sanders stuff even in Spanish, so he's been very, very vocal, similar to what Obama did. All right, guys, you know what? Thank you so much. I know that last night there was an event, and you guys got to get up this morning. We had salsa for Bernie Sanders at the Wonderland Ballroom in Revere. I mean, that's
right.
innovative,
Great time.
new, and fresh approach. So thank you for coming by, man. You're a good dancer. I got to give you a high five. Not that we dance. I saw you dance with
You see me.
All right, thank you. All right, when we return, do you know what city has rates of diabetes-related hospitalization that are nearly twice the state average? Well, we'll tell you next right here on Revista Hispana.